Hello, hello everyone. So we are live again. Quickly share this session with your friends, with your known ones, so that we can start with the session as soon as possible. And today, basically, we are going to complete the anatomy of the heart, the valves, the associated vessels. Hello, yes. Quickly share this session with your friends, with your known ones, so that we can start with it. Okay. So we were dealing with the chapter of human circulatory system, right? In that, what we have studied is regarding the different kind of blood vessels, what is the composition of the blood, the two sub components of blood, that is the plasma and the cellular elements. We have detailed about that very nicely in the previous lectures. Also, we have seen how does the blood gets clotted. So everything was done in our last 3 to 4 lectures, right? So today what basically we are going to do is that we have started with the blood vessels yesterday itself. Today we are going to complete what are capillaries and also understand what is the intrinsic significance of capillaries. Okay, with that we are going to move forward to the anatomy of heart as well. Okay, so I'm just giving a small recap. Before that, before giving the recap, I just want to tell you that we are just not providing you free lectures. Apart from that, we are also giving you free mock test. For that, what you have to do is you have to go to the Google Play Store and download the app MidhaGuru. After you download the app, you have to log in into the app and you can search in the search button for 10th ICC mock test. There you are going to find all the mock tests for subjects like mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. All the mock tests are given in a very sequential manner so that becomes easy for everybody to access all those mock tests. Fine. Apart from that, if you have any kind of doubt, you need any kind of free mentorship or guidance, you can call on this number or also you can WhatsApp us. Okay. So with this, I just want to give a small recap. So what we have studied in the last 3 classes is uh, what are the different kinds of fluids in our body, then types of fluids, whether the fluid is circulating, whether it is non-circulating, like in case of blood is what? Blood is a circulating fluid. That means वो पूरी body में circulate कर सकता है. Whereas there are certain fluids like synovial fluid that is found between the joints. जैसे अगर दो joints के बीच में बेसिकली आपस में वो फ्रिक्शन को रिड्यूस करने के लिए एक छोटा सा फ्लूइड होता है जिसे हम लोग क्या कहते हैं साइनोवियल फ्लूइड एंड दैट इज प्रेजेंट बिटवीन द junction between the junction of two bones, and the junction of two bones is called as a joint. Fine. To reduce the friction between the bones, there is a specific fluid that we call as synovial fluid, and that does not circulate in our body. That is static and that is definite in that position. Okay, fine. ये है. Yeah, hello. Next, the thing that we have studied is composition of blood, that is the plasma and the cellular elements that the blood comprises of. Then we have also studied about the respiratory pigment, right? Then we have seen what are the characteristics of RBCs and what are the organelles that are not present in RBCs. So everything we have done in detail. For if you haven't watched the previous lectures, it is recommended that you better watch those lectures and then you can watch this lecture. So as a similar thing we have done with WBC as well. We have classified the WBC into different categories according to its characteristics, proper characteristics, that is whether it has granules or it is non-granular, and then we have classified it accordingly. So everything was done, even the blood clotting mechanism, how does the blood gets clot, what are the factors that are involved in clotting the blood, everything was discussed in great detail. We have also seen with this picture, we have also understood that if you remove the uh, clotting protein that we called as fibrinogen. Basically, fibrinogen is the inactive form of that protein. For things to get clot, you have to change that fibrinogen into the active form. The active form is called as fibrin, and it is actually in the form of a thread-like structure. Fibrous, little bit fibrous, and it is in the form of a thread-like structure. Fine. Now, if you remove this fibrin or the fibrinogen from this plasma of the blood, then the left liquid part or the left uh, fluid part is called as serum. That is actually what? That is actually a serum. Fine. So if you see carefully into this picture, this yellow fluid is actually the serum, and this is the clotted part. This is the clotted part. This is nothing but the fibrin threads, and it has trapped the corpuscles. What are the corpuscles? RBC, WBCs, and the platelets. So let's move to the next slide. So we have already understood the blood group एंड किस तरह से हम लोग ब्लड ग्रुप को डिफाइन करते हैं, किस बेसिस पे डिफाइन करते हैं. सो बेसिकली देयर आर टू प्रोटीन्स which are involved in defining the blood group. There is a protein called antigen that is present on the surface of the RBC of every individual. Fine, and that is called as antigen. अब जो भी एंटीजन हमारे आरबीसी पे प्रेजेंट होगा उसके बेसिस पे हमारा ब्लड ग्रुप डिफाइंड रहता है. सपोज इफ somebody is having A antigen over the surface of his or her RBC, then the person will belong to the blood group of A. Similarly, if somebody is having antigen B over the surface of the RBCs, then the person will fall under the category of blood group B. तो एंटीजन पे ही हमारा ब्लड ग्रुप डिफाइंड रहता है. Now, there is one more thing that we have classified yesterday, and we have seen this in the chart that if you are belonging to blood group A, then you might be having antigen A on your RBC. Now, there's one more thing. Antigens हमेशा RBC के surface पे present रहता है, RBC के surface पे present रहता है, whereas antibodies जो होते हैं वो plasma में present रहते हैं. There's one more thing. If the antigen is A, then the antibody will be B. Just the opposite. ठीक है, अगर एंटीजन ए है हमारे बॉडी में, सॉरी, then antibody will be B. Just opposite. If somebody is falling under the blood group of B, then he or she must be having antigen B over the surface of his or her RBC, and the antibody will be A. फिर अगर हम लोग O का बात करें, ब्लड ग्रुप O के बारे में बात करें, तो the person is not having any kind of antigen over the surface of the RBC, but he or she must be having antibodies A and B both. तो ये सारा चीज़ हम लोग कल ही देख चुके थे. Ma'am, can you please chapter electrolysis video of chemistry after this? Yes, I'm planning to do the same. We are going to make the video of electrolysis for chemistry. Fine? Lily, whoever is asking me this question. Okay. Now, let's move to the next slide. ABO system. We have also understood that before donating our blood to anybody, we must be very careful uh, to check with the blood group and also the RH antigen. So everything we have done yesterday, everything we have understood yesterday. There's a very famous case of this erythroblastosis fetalis. That is very important. This term has not been given in our Selena book, but yes, the mechanism has been discussed. Now, next we have talked about valves and what is the function of a valve. Then we have also seen the different kind of blood vessels. The different kind of blood vessels are what? First is arteries, then we have veins, then we have capillaries. So basically yesterday we have just discussed the arteries and the veins. And what were the points? We know that arteries, in case of artery, the walls are quite thick. So the lumen, that is the space inside or the hollow space that we can see inside this artery it becomes thin. Why? Because most of the space is being covered or accommodated by the walls itself. Okay. Now, what does this artery do? It actually sends blood from heart to distant parts of our body. And the reverse thing happens with the veins. What do the veins do? They send blood from body parts to heart. So basically into opposite directions. Artery blood कहाँ पे भेजता है? From heart to body parts, whereas the veins sends the blood from body parts to the heart, just in the opposite direction. Fine. Now we have also seen that generally arteries carries oxygenated blood, whereas veins carry deoxygenated blood. I have used the term generally is because there are certain exceptions that we are going to discuss when we are going to see the anatomy of the heart and the double circulation specifically. Now, we must be looking into this thing that valves are not present in case of arteries. Why? Because we know that in case of arteries, the blood is being sent from heart to other body parts. Now, when the blood is coming out of the heart, it is actually in great pressure, and something which is coming out in such a great pressure will not have a single tendency to move back again. Okay, so we do not require any valves there. We do not require any valves there. Fine. But in case of veins, what happens? Blood is actually flowing from a body part to the heart, and we know that other than heart, no other body part or no other organ pumps the blood. So the blood which is sent out from the body part actually flows in a very smooth motion. Fine. And something which is flowing in a very smooth motion can have a great tendency to flow back. So to prevent that, veins have valves inside their lumen. फाइन. तो यही सारी चीजें हम लोग कल पढ़ चुके थे. There is another opposite thing, opposite characteristics that we have seen, that in case of vein, the walls are very thin, and since the walls are so thin, the space inside becomes wider. So we say that lumen is wide. अगर हम लोग एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देखें, जैसे गार्डन का पाइप, जो होस रहता है, द माउथ ऑफ दैट पाइप इज कॉल्ड एज होस. सो अगर हम लोग होस को ध्यान से देखें, तो इफ द वॉल इज क्वाइट थिक, then the cavity inside, what is cavity? The hollow space inside. Cavity is also called as lumen. Okay, whenever the wall is quite thick, the space inside becomes what? Narrower. And if the wall is thin, the space inside has more region to get widened, so the lumen becomes wide. Fine. So these are the points. Yeah, hello. So these are the points. Okay, now let's move to capillaries, the last blood vessels, and the most significant blood vessel that we need to understand is capillary. So what is capillary? We know that throughout our body, there are two blood vessels which sends the blood to all the distant part in our body. That is the artery and the vein. Fine. But there are certain intrinsic region in our body where this vein and artery cannot send blood. So what will happen to those parts? So there comes this capillaries. Capillaries are nothing but fine tubes, very fine and very thin tubes, which actually sends nutritions, oxygen, and all the essential elements to those parts of our body where artery or vein cannot send the blood or cannot send nutrients or pour nutrients or oxygen or any essential element that is required for the survival purpose. Fine. Now what happens? This artery, this artery gets divided into more finer tubes, and these fine tubes are called as arterioles. Arterioles. Similarly, the veins also get distributed into fine tubes. This we called as venules. This we called as venules. Fine. Now what happens? Brings the oxygenated blood. Generally, arteries, what do? They bring the oxygenated blood. Now there are certain parts in our body जहाँ पे blood नहीं पहुँच पा रही है, जैसे छोटे cells, जैसे वहाँ पे वो cells इतने छोटे होते हैं, इतने microscopic structures होते हैं कि वहाँ पे blood नहीं पहुँच पाएगा. then कुछ तो आएगा ना वहाँ पे, कुछ तो मैकेनिज्म होगा या कुछ स्ट्रक्चर्स होंगे जहाँ पे वो ब्लड भेज सकता है उस पर्टिकुलर पार्ट को. देन comes the capillaries. So what happens? This arteries breaks down or divides into more finer branches. We call that as arterioles. Arterioles and venules. Arterioles and venules unite to form the capillaries. Unite to form the capillary. Now I should be mentioning one point, that artery and vein, artery and vein unite to form the capillary. Second thing, capillaries are just one cell thick. Isn't it magnificent? Like something which is, it has the diameter of just one cell, around one cell. The thickness, whatever thickness is that of a single cell, the same thickness the capillary have. Okay, so capillaries are just one celled thick, one celled thick. So these are the most significant points that we have to understand about capillaries. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. The difference between arteries and veins. So we have already discussed all these things, just that we need to document them in a separate way. So arteries, I'm just changing the color of the pen. So the first thing, arteries bring blood from heart to other body parts, right? Then generally arteries bring oxygenated blood, oxygenated blood. Next thing, the walls are thick, so the lumen becomes thin. Next, since the blood which flows through the arteries is in high pressure, so there's less tendency for such a high pressure blood to revert back again. Okay, so we cannot observe any valves inside an artery. So no valves are present. No valves are present. Fine. Just the opposite things are noticed in case of veins. So in case of veins, blood will flow from other body parts to the heart. Second thing, in case of veins, it generally carries the deoxygenated blood, right? But there is one exception even that we are going to discuss when we are talking about the anatomy of the heart. Fine. Now, next thing, walls are thin. Walls are thin. Now, since the walls have become thin, so the space inside will widen up. So we can say that lumen is wide in case of veins, right? And we know that in case of veins, the blood actually flows from body parts to the heart. And we know that other than heart, no other organ or no other tissue can pump the blood. So if it is coming from other parts of the body, the blood is actually flowing in a very smooth motion. And something which is flowing in such a smooth motion can have the tendency to revert back again. So to prevent that to prevent the backflow of the blood, veins have valves inside their lumen. Fine. So this was the basic difference between arteries and veins. Okay. Fine. Now let's move to the human heart. So now we have come to the most interesting part of the chapter, that is the human heart. Fine. Now before understanding its anatomy, let's understand its location. Where exactly heart is present. Where exactly heart is present. Many of us think that heart is present or it is present at the left side of our chest cavity, but it's not true. We feel that way is because the heart is exactly located in between both the lungs. This, if you see the picture carefully, then the this is one lung and this is the left lung, and in between them, our heart is present. Our heart is present. But why does it? Why do we feel that our heart is present to the left side of our chest cavity? Is because the apex part, I'm just highlighting this more nicely. Yeah, the apex part, that is the tip part of the heart. The tip part of the heart is slightly tilted towards the left side. It's slightly tilted towards the left side. Now, when we talk about the chambers, this bottom part, which we called as ventricles, actually pushes the blood to all the other body parts. And in that, the force that is being generated is quite high. So when it actually pushes the blood out of the heart, we feel that yes, heart is somewhat located towards the left side of our chest cavity, but it is not true. Okay, this is not true, right? So location, what is the location? Between the lungs, between the lungs, right? And in the middle middle of the thoracic cavity. But the apex, what do we understand by the term apex? You must have heard about Supreme Court is called the apex court of India. So apex word is nothing but the tip part. The tip region is called as apex part of anything. Okay, this is the tip part. This is the tip of the heart. But the apex is slightly slightly tilted towards left side, towards left side. Fine. So it's quite easy between both the lungs. दो lungs के बीच में जो space है, the thoracic cavity. Now anybody who's asking about cavity or lumen, cavity is nothing but the hollow space. It's the hollow space, right? And even sometimes lumen is also been, it can be called as lumen even. Okay, it can be called as lumen even. Now let's so we have already discussed that it is tilted towards the left side. It is tilted towards the left side. It is not exactly placed towards the left side, but rather the apex part is tilted towards the left side. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. Before we discuss the anatomy, let's it is also a part of anatomy even, but let's just see the superficial surface of heart first. Okay, the superficial surface of heart first. Let me check the charts. Hello. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the chambers of the heart. Now, a human heart, basically a mammalian heart. We are what? We are mammals. Who are mammals? Animals who can produce milk and have a hairy body are called as mammals, right? So, in case of a human heart, we basically have four chambers. Now, what are chambers? These are basically a small loop or small closed spaces. Small closed spaces are called as what? Chambers. Okay. So basically we have four chambers. And let's just label them. This region, this particular region is called as right atria. Now before I tell you the location, there are two arterias, the upper two chambers, this chamber and this chamber is called as atria. And the lower two chambers, this chamber and this chamber is called as ventricle. So this specifying its side, I would be calling it as a right atria. So this will be my left atria. Both are arterias only. The upper chambers are called as arterias only, but according to their side, according to their region, according to their direction, we have kept the name as right atria and left atria. Now just below right atria, we have right ventricle, and just below left atria we have left ventricle. Both the chambers are ventricle only, but it's just the side, the direction we are mentioning it. Okay. Now these are atria and these are ventricles. Now heart is actually covered by a double membrane covering, which we called as pericardium. So if you look into the picture carefully, then this thing, this membrane, this outer membrane is actually nothing but the pericardium. Now let's emphasis on this word. Whenever we use the term cardium or cardiac or anything cardiac, we are actually specifying for heart, for anything which is related to heart. Cardiac word is related to heart. Just we use renal word for kidneys, pulmonary word for lungs, then hepatic word for liver. Similarly, for heart, we use the term as cardiac or cardiac. What do we understand by peri? Peri means outer. Peri means what? Peri means outer. If I use the word meso, then it is middle. If I use the word endo, then it means inside. So pericardium, outside wall, outside wall of heart. Now, bit, it is what? It is double walled. It is double walled. It is not a singular wall. So in between, this is the inner wall. This is the inner wall. This is the inner wall, and this is what? This is the outer wall. So between the inner wall and the outer wall, the space inside the inner wall and the outer wall, this particular region, the space is particularly filled with a fluid which is called as pericardial fluid, which is called as pericardial fluid, pericardial fluid. Now, why this fluid is present and what is its function? Pericardial fluid actually helps in reducing the friction. Now, we know that the heart has an exclusive property of expanding and contracting. Okay, it expands and contracts. So while expansion and contraction continuously, there must be some kind of friction developing between the inner wall and the outer wall. So to reduce that friction and to prevent the walls from getting damaged, there is a fluid which we call as pericardial fluid. What does it do? It actually reduces. It reduces. It reduces the friction. It reduces the friction, and and to prevent the walls of the heart getting damaged. Getting damaged. Fine. Now let's talk about the. So we have done with the chambers. We have seen the outer covering. We have seen the fluid. Now we are going to look into the valves. Now we have discussed that valves are what? Valves are nothing but the muscular flaps that prevent the backflow of the blood. Right? It's not just like this that the valves are present inside the blood vessels, but it is also present inside the heart. Okay. So now let's have a look. So between this right atria and right ventricle, there is a valve which we called as tricuspid valve, somewhat near to the space. This is not the tricuspid. Many of us get confused that these extensions are actually valves, but these are not the valves. Valves are somewhat pocket-like shaped structures. Okay, valves are quite pocket-like. It looks like a pocket, so we have to be very careful. Do not get confused with these extensions as valves. These are not valves. These are actually other fibers that are actually get stretched between the two poles of the heart that I'm going to discuss it later on. So this is called as the tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Similarly, there is a valve that exists between left atria and left ventricle. This is what? This is bicuspid valve, which is also called as mitral valve. This mitral valve has been given, this name has been given after the name of a scientist who has discovered it. Okay, now let me tell you that why do we call it as tricuspid? What do we understand by tri? Tri means three. Cusp means uh, origination. Okay, cusp means origination. So basically, it has three flaps. The tricuspid valve has three flaps, somewhat like this. This is the first flap, this is the second flap, and this is the third flap. In bicuspid valve, if you see it carefully, then it might be having two flaps like this. This is the first flap, and this is the second flap. So bi word is used for two, and tri word is used for 3. Fine. Now this is not enough. We have two more valves. What are those? Those are called as semi-lunar valves. Semi-lunar valves. Now, if I emphasize on this word, semi-lunar, semi-lunar. What do we understand by semi? Semi means half, half of something, right? Semi means what? Half. Lunar, we call it as solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. Similarly, lunar, this term lunar is used for moon. So we can say that it is half moon structure. Okay, semi-lunar structure, or we can say it looks like a pocket, looks like a pocket in that is that we can see in our pants or shirts. Okay, so this is semilunar valve. This is present at the end of the right ventricle and end of the left ventricle. This is the semilunar valve. This is one semilunar valve which I am encircling it, and this is the another semilunar valve which I am encircling it. Okay, so we have seen all the valves, all the chambers, the fluid that is present, the covering that actually protects the heart. We have seen everything. Okay. Now we have also understood the function of pericardial fluid as well. Fine. So let's move to the next slide. Till here, if anybody is having any kind of doubt, can ask me. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Now here I have mentioned all the details related to the four walls of the heart. How many walls did a heart have? Four valves, right? One is between the right atria and the right ventricle. One is between the left atria and the left ventricle. Then there are two more valves which is present at the end of right ventricle and at the end of left ventricle. So basically we have total four valves, right? We have four valves. Now first valve, right atrioventricular valve. This is nothing but the right side. See, this is the right side, right atrioventricular. At the junction is what? Junction is the meeting point between the two chambers.